Today I'm going to try to draw this little street corner in Tavira, Portugal, and I told you I was going to lay off the towers. It was getting a bit too samey for my taste, as I'm sure you would agree, if you care. So today we're taking a look at this very Portuguese-looking corner. I'm sat up on the corner of a bank, which was stupid. I had a lot of people looking at me, wondering what all of my black metal tools were as I pulled them out of a nondescript black bag, just steps away from the entrance. But it was fine. No one came to question me or arrest me, and the drawing went off without a hitch. So, the name of the game here is perspective. Isn't it always? Yes, I know. It's omnipresent, and I'm as sick of saying it as you are of hearing it, but today is a bit different. I don't often draw corners like this, especially ones so dramatically distorted, so it is kind of important to talk about for just 1 second. But first, if you're new here, I am traveling around the world and learning to draw it, and it's been good fun, and I'm getting a bit better at it, and I can prove it to you if you just go back and watch all of the preceding videos. The proof is there. When this started, I was way worse than this, I promise. Anyway, if that sounds interesting to you, go ahead and subscribe. And if all 5 of you can like the video now, YouTube will know that we can invite a 6th. Fantastic. Perspective. Okay, so actually I do draw this particular type of perspective often. Think about pretty much any tower that's at an angle. But like I said, none have been as dramatic or low down as this. So here's how I approached it. Maybe you've noticed me using these floating like ghost lines, professional term for sure, where I'll start from somewhere out of frame, guiding my line from that point to another. Okay, well, that imaginary point is technically my vanishing point, and there's one on each side, and they're basically just way, way down the road. I use these because it helps me keep track of where all of the lines are pointing. So the top of the building is the most obvious example. On the right, it points dramatically down to the right, to our vanishing point way down the road, and on the left, it does the opposite. Then look at the bottom of the building. This time, both sides go up in their respective directions. But why? Because they are also going to those vanishing points, which would be higher than the bottom corner of this building. Why is that? Because of my eye line, which I've talked about so many times. Do you not know what an eye? Just kidding. So on the x-axis, the vanishing points are way, way, way down the road, to the left and to the right. And on the y-axis, they're level with my eye, which in this case of the reference video, would be the point in space where the camera lens sits, which is somewhere just above the little ledge that rounds the corner. I don't know what that's called, whatever. Anyway, once you can kind of see that, like a grid, things really start to fall into place. I hope you can see it. That said, my version is quite dramatic by comparison, and I actually made it that way on purpose, and that's because the vanishing points that I mentioned can be actual pen marks on the paper to help you keep track, way out to the sides. But my page is too slim to accommodate both the height and correct vanishing point distance. So I just had to pick one to sacrifice. I wanted my building to largely, at least, fill the frame. So I either needed to imagine my vanishing points somewhere way off the paper to keep things accurate, which is obviously more difficult in practice because you're just imagining a point, in space, or I could bring those points in, narrow them, marking them on the paper, essentially squeezing this big corner building inward, almost like I'm 10 steps closer to it than I really am, which I think you can see in the drawing. Also, aside from all the technical stuff, which I will shut up about now, I just preferred the idea of these extreme slopes. I think it makes the whole thing a lot more dynamic, like you're standing right in front of it. And that's the power of understanding perspective, I guess. And hey, it made me feel on top of the world. This materialized slowly, but that's just because I was careful to pay attention to all of those little details that could make or break the quote unquote realism of the drawing. It doesn't happen often, but this one had me feeling really proud of myself in the moment. And I felt like I had a firm grasp on what I was doing every step of the way. Usually, even if I end up liking a drawing, I tend not to really like it in the process. There's typically something that gets under my skin about it, or there's a problem or problems I can't solve. But here, I felt totally in control. And yeah, I guess this is why I'm even out here doing this. Sometimes it feels really good. Could I have done more? Sure. There can always be more. Would I have made it better with more? I doubt it. I doubt it very much. I'm happy with the way this turned out. I'm happy to be understanding things a bit better, slowly but surely. And I'm happy no one tackled me to the ground when I pulled out my camp stool at the entrance of the bank. Anyway, I appreciate you for taking the time to watch this one, and I'll see you tomorrow. Thanks.